very good morning to Nigerians. Thank God it's another Friday, and tomorrow Nigerians will be going to the polls. Finally, the 18th of March 2023 is here, where Nigerians will be going to the polls to cast their vote for the governorship candidates of their choices in the states in Nigeria and the members of the state houses of assembly. The election holds a lots of prospect for Nigerians because for since time immemorial, Nigeria's voting pattern has been taking it going through one dimension until recently in the 2023 presidential elections, where there is a new dimension that emerged, even though some scholars and political commentators said that the voting pattern for 2023 also went same direction, but some of us didn't actually agree with that because before now we've had issues where we have some presidential candidates scoring as many as 12 million, 14 million, 15 million, and recently we saw the just concluded elections, about 8 million for the president-elect and 6 million, of course, for the second runner-up, and the same 6 million for the person that came third as well. So we saw political gladiators in the subnational units in Nigeria coming out to contend, to plead with Nigerians, the electorates. Some of them in the 36 states of the country have been going around, to earn, to like, okay, please come to the vote, come to the ballot and give us your mandate. We will deliver. We will know. Some of them has been going out of their way to do things to curry the votes of Nigerians. Well, we just want to let Nigerians know that it is good. But however, we want to let you know that with the PVC in your hand, the power lies in your hand on whom you elect to become your governor, who becomes the member of State House of Assembly, who represent you in the legislative chamber in your respective states. I know I've been going on and on about politics and the 2023 elections, but that will not be our focus of conversation this morning. We will be talking about the cash crunch, the Naira policy, some of the effects it has on the polity in the market across Nigeria in your respective states. If you're still going through some of the difficulties and challenges that you went through, you can call into the program to give us some of this information. And of course, about the old Naira notes that has been released recently, not only by the verdict that the Supreme Court gave, but equally when the CBN governor came out and gave a communique, released a communique to that effect. So you can call in and tell us what you're experiencing and how you are, going through this particular difficult time. On the 26th of October 2022, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Gordon Emefiele, announced that the highest denominations of the Naira, the Nigerian currency, 200 Naira, 500 Naira, and 1000 Naira notes will be redesigned, given the deadline of 31st January 2023 for all notes to be deposited in banks in exchange for new ones. According to the CBN, the new notes would help curb corruption and currency fraud, tackle the growing menace of kidnapping for ransom, lower inflation, and address the problems of having too much money in circulation. There was an immediate backlash to this because with strong opposition from the Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, she claimed that the ministry had not been consulted. But the CBN governor remained undeterred, and the new notes were launched by the President Muhammadu Buhari on November 23, 2022. Many Nigerians felt the CBN was too quick to implement the policy and criticized the design of the new notes as unappealing. In response, the CBN rolled out campaigns to educate Nigerians on the benefits of the policy, and the governor defied warnings from the legislative and judicial arms of government, who continue to mount pressure that the policy, even if for good, was coming at the wrong time, and questioned the haste in its implementation. By the deadline of the 31st January, when the old notes ceased to be legal tender, Nigeria was less than 4 weeks away from a general elections. The presidential and National Assembly elections have come and gone, while Tomorrow, the gubernatorial and state houses of assembly elections will hold, though on Monday, 13th of March, the CBN issued a directive that the old and new Naira notes should coexist after the Supreme Court judgment. Joining us today to discuss some of the impacts of the currency crisis is the Chief Executive Officer of Coinbox Limited, who doubles as a business expert. His name is Ayo Emakiome. But we'll go on a break, and when we return, we'll jump into the business of the day as we also put you on your toes to call into the program to participate. And you can send in WhatsApp messages to 0907 224 5018. 0907 224 5018. You can call into the program on 0700 1021 1021. That is 0700 1021 1021. It's on record where every word matters. We're going to break. When we return, we'll go into the business of the day. To stay with us.
Are you looking for an avenue to blast your brand? Why not let us be your detonator at High Impact Radio 102.1 FM with Got You Covered. For advert placement, sponsorship, partnership, call us on 0706 393 5694, 0915 958 1881, 0902 745 3931, or send an email to info@highimpactstudio.com.
Beyond the everyday conversations, away from the noise and rumors, despite the trends, every word counts, and it stays on record. Every weekday, 9 a.m. on your urban lifestyle station, High Impact 102.1 FM. Call us 0700 1021 1021. WhatsApp 0907 224 5018.
Do you know bad production can kill a great content idea?
Do you want to have a photo shoot, audio production, or do you need a professional voiceover artist?
Do you simply want unmatched cinematography, video production, or just event coverage, such as weddings, birthdays, or burials?
Or do you need a space for meetings or conferences? All these are possible with High Impact Studios. Don't bring down your creativity, let's help you take it high.
And out of this world with our state-of-the-art equipment and first-class studio space.
We give you the quality you deserve at the best rate.
For more details, call 0706 393 5694 or 0915 958 1881. High Impact Studios, the future.
Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us on the program. We are talking about the Naira crunch, the Naira crisis, the policy that that took Nigeria for a while now, and notwithstanding the difficulties that we went through until recently, where we have the Supreme Court and the CBN intervening strongly to bring a reprieve to Nigerians. Like I said earlier, joining us on the program to discuss the impact of the currency crisis is the CEO of Coinbox Limited, who doubles as business expert, Ayo Emakiome. Good morning and welcome to On Record.
Good morning.
It's good to have you once
Thank you for
again.
having me.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Ayo,
Yes,
there's this conversation that this is the third time in Nigerian history that we have a new currency being introduced into the society. The first time it occurred in 1960s when the pounds and the shillings and the pence gave way for the introduction of Naira and Kobo. The second time, it took place during the Buhari regime in 1985 when he was a military administrator. And the third time is the one we are currently experiencing at the moment. So, Mr. Imakiome, if you can recall some of the issues that transpired that previous dispensation, you can tell us on how the policy worked, how it was implemented, and how it was introduced, if you can still recall.
Well, I won't lie to you. As at the first, what do you call it, Naira swap?
Yes.
I'll be change of currency. I wasn't born then.
Oh.
As at the second, one,
yes,
I was still very young, but I had an idea of what happened. And as at this third one, of course, this is me talking. Comparing what happened now with what happened then, the policy implementation as at then was a bit better than what we're having now. And that it wasn't as drastic. That's what I mean about being a bit better. But at least the Supreme Court judgment has ameliorated things. So the implementation would be better now, because this is what we were expecting, that, okay, there's a new currency. The two currencies will run pari passu for a while, because what I expected was that CBN will now do slow, gradual withdrawal of the old currency from the economy, such that as both currencies are running, they will be taking out in phases the old currencies, while they are bringing out more of the new currencies. So unlike the initial, that drastic, like a flip of a switch model they wanted to adopt. So I think it has the whole thing has improved over time to where we are today. So that's what I would say.
Okay. Now, what about the impacts of this current the currency crisis? How can you assess the impact, looking at it from different sectors? Most especially this morning, there is a particular story on the front of in the Guardian newspaper. It's talking about some of the impacts that the cash crunch and the activities that took place in the bid to implement this policy had, the negative effect it had, or it's going to continue to have on staple foods on the market, and including they gave both the negative and the positive aspects. So let me hear from you.
Okay. First of all, CBN have been announcing that Nigeria is cashless. They've been in the process of implementation in the last 10 years. They start, they make changes, they stop, and then they keep at it. A little while ago, they declared that Nigeria was now cashless. But for me, all I saw happen was that we moved cash transactions from the teller point in the banks to the automated teller point. People now line up to withdraw a lot of cash using the ATM. And so it's not that we were cashless, it's just the volume of cash transactions had slightly reduced. That gave way to the CBN announcement when they announced this Naira swap, when they said we have about 3 trillion Naira in cash, but it's only about 800 billion of that is in the vaults of banks, while the rest, over 2 trillion, are in hands of people, which was one of their reasons for this cash swap. And so, based on that, they decided, but that meant that with over 2 trillion outside, meant that we were still a cash-based economy. And so now they decided that this is how the way to go, which I feel it is now that they are moving into cashless. Because in foreign countries, there is a fine, as in there's a drastic fee they charge you for withdrawing cash, which wasn't holding much here. Then you withdraw and pay almost nothing for carrying that out. But there's a drastic fee, which is what he's now implementing, where you pay the 5 and 10% fees. Then there's a limit. I know if I had gone to America and I want to withdraw $10,000, the manager will want to see me and find out why I must withdraw that volume of cash. And why are there no other alternatives? That would be hold here in Nigeria. I can still come and withdraw 3, 5, 10, 20 million, and they'll give me cash. But now CBN, this is their new rule. It's not even available. You can't come and withdraw 10 million because that kind of cash is not available. Even worth 10 million, 100,000 cash is not available to withdraw. So based on that, the manager will now want to see me So it is now we are practicing what cashless is about.
Okay.
And then with the new Supreme Court ruling that now says let the two currencies run, it is now more civil. But the challenge is the cash is not even available. Even with the ruling, cash is not. And for me, from the little knowledge I have with cash processing, when the old notes were moved out of circulation, CBN must have destroyed a lot of it, if not all.
Okay.
And based on that, that is why even with the Supreme Court ruling, they don't have old notes to give to banks. And so it's as if there was never a ruling by the Supreme Court. There's still no cash. It's the little they have that has come back out, but it has minimal effect.
I see.
So that's what I would say. It's good for the economy because, number one, we can now track transactions. We know what is happening per time. So the control organizations like the NFIU, the EFCC, you can run transactions on that. And then illicit businesses like drug businesses, funny exports and all that too will minimize. You can now know what, and so they have to be careful else they get caught. And then all those, round tripping of cash too. CBN can monitor and control it. And
when you talk about issues of round tripping of cash, what exactly are you referring to?
Before now, there are situations where I can go to the bank, pay in some amount of currencies, and then go to the ATM and withdraw. So now I can then come back and pay it back into the bank. But with the situation on ground now, you can pay in any amount, but there's a limit to what you can withdraw. So because of that, you will not want to do such. You will rather look for how to make sure you complete your transaction without bringing the money back to the bank. So that is encouraging cashless, so that all transactions can be tracked. And with that one, it's supposed to encourage the tax authorities too to be able to track transactions to the point of being very definite with what you need to pay as tax. So there's more revenue for the government. And what people don't understand is with cashless, there is a limit to all these road robberies on the highways will minimize because nobody has cash anymore. You get. And then even burgling of houses. People, most times, burglars come not for your furniture. They come for the cash you have. But with the fact that there's minimal cash, then no. And then there's now accountability. Because there's now a trace for every transaction for which you can always find out and confirm if this transaction went or did not go and what happened with it. So those are the advantages. It's a plus for the economy. It's the implementation that is the challenge.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, let me remind our listeners that the number to call in to the program to participate is 0700 1021 1021. Mr. Ayo Emakume just said is a good one for the economy, the policy, but that implementation is faulty. Do you share his perspective? Call us and tell us 0700 1021 1021. You can send in WhatsApp messages to 0907 224 5018. 0907 224 5018. Mr. Ayo, now there is this social contract that binds between the financial institutions and the banking populace, including the Central Bank of Nigeria, that is saddled with the responsibility of regulating financial institutions. The social and financial contracts binding bankers and the clients have been shredded. That is what some economics and financial analysts said. They said it has been shredded by the Central Bank of Nigeria and the commercial banks. And this is because the promise by the financial institutions to make available the client's money on demand has been breached due to the poor implementation of the policy. So let's talk about the issue of trust that has been broken, which existed between the CBN and the commercial banks on one hand, then the commercial banks and Nigerian populace on the other hand, and Nigerians and the CBN, which is saddled with the responsibility of regulating the commercial banks on the other hand. So let us start from the CBN and the commercial banks. don't you think there is a level of the breach of trust existing between the bankers bank and the banks?
Starting from a breach of trust, the
Yes.
issue of breach of trust means I gave you money, and then when I came back to ask for, or I gave you money on the basis that when I need it, you give it to me.
Yes.
So now the people now gave the money, and now they want their money. But the question is the money not available? The money is available. What is the challenge is how you get it. You want it in cash. We are telling you, you take it electronically. And then can you do business with it electronically if you take it that form? Yes. And so for me, there's no breach of trust.
But there is it's not a total yes. Doing business like can you do business with it electronically? It's not a complete or total yes, because even those who call into the program some time ago and they're still calling into the program even this week.
Hello?
Yes, hello, I'm here. Can you hear me clearly? Hello.
Hello, your line is breaking up. I'm not hearing you clearly.
Oh, I can hear you clearly.
Okay.
Are you
based
fine?
on what you are saying,
Yes.
my understanding is taking it from CBN. CBN is a regulator, and CBN regulates how banks carry out their banking activities. But the CBN is a banker to the government as well as a banker to the other banks. And because of that, when there are issues of who to be on whose side, it is always the government side that the CBN will follow because they report to the government. And based on that, part of what they do too is economic regulation. And also when they need to take decisions, it will still be, they will default to which one is best for the economy. So if you talk about social trust, there are some policies that we don't see as favorable, but is a plus for the economy. So that's why how we need to analyze this. Cashless. We're not saying you don't have your money, it's just that you don't have it as physical cash. Is it good for the economy? Yes. So if it's good for the economy, there is no breach of trust. There's just a slight change in the terms of engagement. So for CBN and the banks, I don't see the breach of trust. Then for the banks with their customers,
Yes.
the rule is I can walk into the bank as the owner of an account with my money in the account at any time, see that the bank is open,
Yes.
and collect my money. Remember, it is to collect my money. It was not written how I will get it. The issue is that my money is available whenever I want it. So in line with
There's a statement you made that it was not defined how you are going to get your money, even though you deposited that money in cash.
Yes, the issue is you will get your money back. The same way as there's no rule on how I put my money in the bank, what is most important is that the bank acknowledge the state of my money. Once that happens, that's what puts the contract into action. So the same way, there is no rule about how the bank will give me my money. The most important thing is that my money is available. You get? So it is in line with that. The bank is now saying your money is available. We didn't say you will not get your money. It's just that you cannot get it in cash. Be based on the volume you want. So if your volume is on the high side, that's starting from, I think presently is about 10,000 or 5,000 or something, you now have to get it electronically.
Okay, but Mr. Okay.
And it's for the good of the same customer. So there's no breach of trust. Really.
Okay, but
it's just that Nigeria has been a cash-driven economy, and we are seeking for change.
Okay.
And because of that request for change, human beings are naturally resistant to change. So there would always be a resistance. But CBN is now not doing their job in educating the populace of the advantages and the need to do this, which has always been a challenge with the central
Mr. Makiome,
federal government.
Mr. Makiome, before we go on to the CBN's responsibility of educating or sensitizing the populace on the advantages of the policy, let's still hammer on the level of trust that should exist between parties in this financial issue. If you say there is no breach of trust, the CBN have a responsibility to regulate the commercial banks. Now, if the commercial banks are saying that Nigerians who deposited cash, either by transfer, electronically or physical cash into the banks, they did not determine the way they were going to collect it, even though their money is available. In instances where these monies have been transferred, or Nigerians attempted to get back their money using the electronic means, it has not worked, and most Nigerians have been denied their money. People at the moment, as I speak with you, are going through trouble trying to access money that was sent to them using the electronic channels that was established by these particular banks who promised to deliver these monies to Nigerians, and it's not working. So if you say there is no breach of trust, I believe a lot of people out there would disagree with your position.
Well, what you are saying now is that the electronic transfer model
Yes.
is not working wholesale. When
Ye-
you say wholesale, that means there is nobody that can withdraw their money.
No, not say
Now,
that,
when you want to
not
look at
that it's
something,
not.
If there are some people that is working for them, is to now find out what's the problem. So the problem now is beyond the bank's capacity, and they are working so hard. It wasn't this good, even though it's not good enough. It wasn't this good a month ago. It wasn't this good 3 weeks ago.
No, Mr. Amakio, pardon me to interrupt again. You saying it is not the bank's fault. It's
I didn't say it's not the bank's fault, because they can do better.
yes,
No,
because they
what
built
I'm saying is
these
it's not good
electronic
enough.
systems. They built these electronic systems. They have IT departments and units in several banks across the country that helps them to build the works, the apps, and the electronic infrastructure that you handle the financial transactions electronically. And if these systems crumble, and it will cost Nigerians loss of money and crumble their businesses, then it is the bank's responsibility. Are you there?
Now, remember I said that the cash swap policy is
Yes.
good for the economy, but the implementation is the challenge. In this case, it's still the same thing. The implementation is a challenge. It is not completely a breach of trust. It's just a failure in a system that can be addressed, which the banks are, I am very sure of that, busy addressing. So yes, we cannot let them go and sleep and say they are working on it. We have to put them under pressure to meet up to the demand, because there is a contract. That's the social contract of give me my money in whatever form you want to give it to me, but let me have it available.
Okay.
And they have built their infrastructure on the basis of, in quote, the number, the volume of customers they had and the volume they envisaged. So where I'm saying is not a breach of trust, that in this case is beyond the capacity, is a situation where I built my infrastructure on the basis that in the last 3 to 5 years, my customer base has grown at an average of 5%, and I have 10 million customers as we speak. And I have a system where all the 10 million customers, if they decide to withdraw now, they can do their withdrawal. But all of a sudden, oh, sorry, let me help you with some information
Yes.
which I'm sure you're aware of.
Okay.
Only about less than 40% or so, if I remember well, of the population have a bank account. And that's what banks are working with. All of a sudden, because of this CBN policy, imagine the volume of people that are now coming to open bank accounts. The bank infrastructures are stressed and pressed. So the bank is busy working to be able to meet everybody's everybody's request. But as you can see, they are overwhelmed. But they are working on it, which is what I was saying, that they are stressed, but they are improving on it, which means in the next 2 or 3 months, hopefully there will be no issues like this, because they are really working towards resolving all issues. This happens everywhere. It's not a new thing, and it's not uncommon. The issue is, when you need your money, would you get it? Yes. But now we're having a challenge of you don't get it almost as that immediately you need it. We are all in it, and we should all be looking at it on the national level of, is it good for the economy? Yes. So we are all making these minor sacrifices, or these small sacrifices, to ensure that Nigeria into the future is better for it.
Thank you, Mr. Ayo
We let the
Emakem.
banks now use that as an excuse. No. We have to put them on their toes, because they were supposed to have been envisaged.
Okay.
I mean, they were supposed to have envisaged this challenge, and they should be able to, by now, have resolved all issues regarding to it, because it's also good for them, because more customers means more profit.
Okay. Thank you.
It's as simple as that.
Yes, Mr. Makame, thank you. Let me call out our numbers again. 0700 1021 1021 is the line to call. 0700 1021 1021. You can send in WhatsApp messages to 0907 224 5018. That's 0907 224 5018. Now, Mr. Ayo, we have been talking about the level of trust that exists between the banks and the commercial banks and the populace, then between the commercial banks and the central bank. Let's talk about the central bank and the populace. Like you mentioned earlier, the CBN is an extension of the government, because the CBN governor, the federal government or the president is the principal to the CBN governor. So when this policies come out this way, indirectly it is seen that it's coming from the federal government. Now, and the government has a responsibility to protect the rights, to protect the lives, to protect the properties of the people, and the money that are in the banks are the properties of these people that the government is saddled with the responsibility to protect. In instances where the banks, the commercial banks that are being regulated by the CBN, built electronic infrastructure that was supposed to aid the seamless transactions of financial transactions, and it is not working, and some Nigerians or most Nigerians have lost their money through that process. The responsibility to hold the commercial banks responsible to make sure that this money gets to Nigerians who own this money in the first place should be exercised by the CBN. So do you see the CBN really playing that role of holding the commercial banks responsible in putting them on their toes, that the electronic infrastructure that they were supposed to put in place to make sure that Nigerians does not lose their money when customer A sent money to customer B using another bank app, in transit the money just gets lost and never gets to the end, and these two people start fighting, and sometimes it ensues to litigation in court. Who holds the commercial banks responsible in this case?
The primary responsibility of holding commercial banks responsible in doing what they need to do is the central bank.
Okay.
And they've been doing this for a long while now, and I don't see them engaging in any is a function that will always be there. And yes, just like you mentioned, we now have the secondary responsibility in the hands of the courts of law, where there is an issue. But now, having said those two, when money is being transferred electronically, they are moved through what you call a switch. The switch is being controlled also at the central bank. That's where the primary switch is. There was a time from my own research that I was checking, was it not 2 weeks ago or thereabouts, I found out that at a particular point in time of the day, for a number of hours, it was not one bank. It was virtually all the bank transfers being go. All the banks, you couldn't log in, you couldn't do transfer, you couldn't do anything. Do you know what that means? Logically, it just as an outsider now, it means that the central switch was down. So it was beyond the bank's control, which is why CBN could not sanction any other bank, bank too, for not being able to do transfers at that time. So it's a two-way road. CBN has its responsibility to also expand their own network to be able to take the new volume or the massive increase in volume of transactions. The same thing, the banks too now have the primary responsibility of expanding their own networks. And like I said, they are all working on that. And that's why, as far as I have been watching and seeing, that we have been checking, it has been improving. The beauty of electronic thing is that your money is not missing. It will come out. It's just that right now, the bank, because it's not just about expanding their networks too, they need manpower too to be able to manage this. And we know there is a dearth of manpower, especially in the IT or the fintech area, to manage this thing. So all these are being worked on. And I am sure in the next 1 month, things will be far, far better than what it is. But aside, on the other end, there is a lack of trust generally, because in the country we are in now, even trust. Government says one thing, the people don't believe because they don't trust the government anymore. And if the CBN is a representative of the government, then CBN cannot say things and people will believe them. There is a lack of trust there, especially when we had issues where even the guy that is supposed to be neutral at the head of the CBN decided to go into politics, which made him no more.
In fact, I am coming to that. I'm coming to that.
You know, it made him no more a neutral person. So there is a lack of, the main issue we're having generally is a lack of trust, and it starts from leadership. Our leaders have gotten this economy to a point where even if they are doing anything with the best of their heart and the best of intention, we, the Nigerians, do not trust them anymore, because they failed us so many times in the past, and they've continually kept doing that. That is why even when I transfer money now and it didn't go, or if you listen to what a lot of people, they don't just blame the bank. They say government has taken my money.
Okay.
So it's not just the banks. It is the CBN and who they are representing. There is a lack of trust there, and that's the major or the primary issue we need to address.
Okay.
And with that, the bank issues too will now be dealt with.
Okay. Thank you so much. Mr. Ayo Emakiome is the leader. Let me take that very well. Ayo Emakiome is the CEO of Coinbox Limited, who doubles as a business expert and is having a time with us this morning on Record. You're still listening to On Record on High Impact 102.1 FM. We'll go on a break, and when we return, our conversation continues. Do stay with us.
Beyond the everyday conversations, away from the noise and rumors, despite the trends, every word counts, and it stays on record. Every weekday, 9 a.m. on your urban lifestyle station, High Impact 102.1 FM. Call us 0700 1021 1021. WhatsApp 0907 224 5018.
Let's discuss big stories from the dailies that caught your attention during the week on The Big Five. Every Saturday from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. on High Impact 102.1 FM. To share your views, call 0700 1021 1021 on WhatsApp 0907 224 5018. Let's hear your thoughts on The Big Five.
If it's public opinion, expert analysis, information that matters to you, we have it on Record, Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. on High Impact 102.1 FM. Call us 0700 1021 1021. WhatsApp 0907 224 5018.
Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us on the program. It's On Record, where every word matters. My conversation this morning has been with Ayo Emakiome, the CEO of Coinbox Limited, who doubles as a business expert. And we've been talking about the cash crunch and the effect it had on our society. Do remember that you can call into the program 0700 1021 1021. And that is 0700 1021 1021. You can send in WhatsApp messages to 0907 224 5018. 0907 224 5018. Many thanks for joining us once again, Ayo Emakiome.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, let's quickly move on. Now, the CBN and the banks had destroyed trust, according to some financial experts, which is fundamental to banking. Every customer now feels betrayed by the institutions they once considered reliable. So millions of Nigerians have lost confidence in the banks as a result of this unexpected cash crunch. Mr. Ayo Emakiome, some Nigerians have said they are not going to, when this cash crunch is over, they are not going to deposit money in the banks again to keep for safe custody, that whenever they need their money, the banks has betrayed that trust of giving them the money in cash when they needed it. So they are going back to what we used to experience in the old time, where people keep monies under their pillows under their beds and keep money in boxes in their house and in their homes. Mr. Imakiome, is this what we should be doing in this 21st century?
Well, first of all, I would not advise that people keep money in their homes, because with this new cashless thing, I expect us that over time we'll be used to carrying out a lot of our transactions electronically. And so a lot of people will switch to eNaira. And with eNaira, eNaira, you carry out transactions using eNaira at no cost. I don't know if you are aware of that. Now, that's one. Two, it's only a few people, like the ones that have complained, that will keep cash. And for keeping cash, that means some people, we know who they are, would know who it is that has cash, and that will now be their target. So all it takes is for one or two people to be robbed because they have money, and the monies will come back to the bank. As they say, time heals all things. So it's just a matter of time. They will move, everybody will go back to what is meant to be, which is cashless. So, and which I keep saying is a good policy, just the implementation. And they are, as they say, we've had a lot of twists and turns, and there have been improvements in the implementation. So it can only get better, really.
Okay. Now,
yes, there's a breach of trust, but all these leaders are not going to be there forever. In fact, by May 29 now, there's a new government.
Okay.
By next year, we are supposed to change the CBN government. So the changes are happening. Nobody there will stay there forever.
Okay, Mr. Imakiome, you talked about the eNaira and that we can carry out transactions on it with no cost. Do you think the CBN is giving public enlightenment and sensitization about the functionality of this eNaira electronic or IT infrastructure that Nigerians can use?
I was on your show. I think that was Tea or Coffee.
Okay.
A little while back. That was last year. We discussed this eNaira, and I mentioned it then that CBN cannot be given a pass mark on enlightenment about the eNaira and the advantages.
Okay.
Sadly, between then and now, nothing has changed. So that's the issue. In fact, with this cashless, I expected them to now go everywhere to, make campaign on, if you don't have cash, use eNaira. Because presently now, some buses, that's commercial buses here in Lagos, now accept transfers as payments for transport fares. If there was eNaira transfer, that is transactions between eNaira from wallet to wallet, is more efficient and faster. So instead of the bus driver sitting down and waiting that he's not leaving until he has confirmation of all the transfers that were done, eNaira is instant because it's a wallet-to-wallet transaction.
Okay.
And so business moves faster, and the faster business moves, the more money everybody makes. So that's how important and how useful eNaira is. But it's just a few people like us that really have an understanding of this, and this is what I expect CBN to be pushing out. But I wish them all the best, and I hope they improve on all this.
Okay. Now, according to the CBN, the new notes, not just only the CBN, the federal government, when the new Naira redesign policy came into place, they were telling us about the objectives of the policy. Now, according to the CBN, the new notes would help curb corruption, currency fraud, tackle the growing menace of kidnapping for ransom, lower inflation rates, and address the problem of having too much money in circulation. The boomerang impact is to have undermined some of the objectives of the program. Do you share this perspective?
Well, when you say it will undermine, if I understand what you're saying, you are saying that these advantages are listed by CBN.
Yes.
With the way they are implementing it, it will now boomerang the positive impact.
Yes,
negative.
Exactly.
Okay. Not exactly. The only issue is that this Naira exchange thing is not an instant solution. But over time, it will be the solution to all these things they listed. For example, kidnappers will still see it as business as usual and still work at kidnapping people and making demands for ransom. But it is when there is no cash to pay them, transfers are now being made, then automatically they will be caught. But my challenge with that is they will devise new means. For example, they want their money in dollars, for example, or in local African currencies. Like some places in the north now, they are no more using naira. That, as I heard, they are now using the currency of the neighboring country.
Yes.
To carry out transactions, so that because that is more efficient and it's cash based. So there is no perfect system, but over time, when the trust, for example, once there's a new government and the trust is earned back, everybody will move back to the naira, because, like you said, the naira, which is our currency or symbol of exchange,
yes,
is also a symbol of the contract we have between ourselves and our government.
Yes.
So whatever is happening to the naira now is saying a lot about what is happening in the country actually. Because when they, as they say it in economics, to analyze a country and know how a country is, look at the key infrastructure. One is their currency and the way the people treat it. The second one is their public infrastructure and the way the people treat it. And then their social infrastructures, in this case, police.
Okay.
Look at our police and how they are now. They are, it's an appalling place to be, and you know the way they are being treated. And that's how the economy is. Look at our public schools. In fact, they are almost non-existent anymore with the way they seem to be treated. Look at even the school feeding program is a failure based on my analysis, because it's just a pipe for more corruption, for siphoning of funds. So all those say what is happening in the country, and based on that, there is serious breach of contract everywhere. But once we have a government that works towards ensuring that the social contract is in place, this cashless thing will just flow naturally, really.
Okay. Now, Mr. Ayo, there were allegations that the CBN mixed purely monetary policy objectives with political goals. They alleged and made reference to the period for the deposit of the old naira notes and the introduction of the new naira notes, that it was too short. And those who actually deposited their money then find it very hard to get it back. And at the moment now, we are back to the old to the old naira notes, though for a short period of time. In your bid of trying to analyze the policy, did you also perceive such?
Well, using your words, you said they are allegations. Allegations are rumors because they are not founded with proof. And I don't think I would encourage peddling of rumors, because I don't have proof of what you are saying. And yes, it seemed like there was a political undertone, but for me, the undertone was because of the timing. It happened at a time where the government felt it's necessary. But is it political? It's your guess. It's my guess. And so that's why I would not meddle in that.
Okay. Finally, now the CBN has been chasing cashless policy in Nigeria for a while now, and lots of people believe that the Central Bank of Nigeria is rather too aggressive chasing this cashless policy, that paying attention to response of the people, most especially in the aspect of policy implementation and the strategy being used. Now, financial analysts said there is no such thing anywhere in the world as a cashless society. Financial analysts said there is no such thing anywhere in the world. There is a complete or near completion of cashless society, that the percentage of cash transactions compared to other payment forms varies from country to country. So presently, don't you think we are at a stage where transactions are being carried out through cash, and the ones that are being carried out through the electronic means are at par, and that with time we could be equally, just like we have in the Western world, the level of cash that is in circulation and the one that is not in circulation? Because the insinuation is that the CBN is running too fast, more than the pace of Nigerians with regards to this policy.
If we go back to the history of this cashless, when CBN started, they did a test run using Lagos. After a while, they moved it to Abuja, then I think a few states. Then they tried moving it to the north, but because the north is virtually 100% cash-based, they couldn't implement it. They had challenges. They postponed it. They tried it a second time, the same issue. They postponed it. Then sometime not too long ago, they decided that, damn the consequences and push the cashless. And so it was now a national thing. That is all across the country, the cashless policy was in place. But were we cashless as a country? Technically, yes. Actually, no. Technically means the rules of engagement was now cashless, as in recognized as cashless. But how are the people engaging was still 90% cash-based, which was the same reason why over 80% of the cash was in the hands of people and not in the banks. So should we continue like this? No. Because is it going to give rise to change? No. Will the people be happy with it? No. Why? Because that is not what they are used to. They are used to cash transactions.
Okay.
Doing things, I give you cash, I give. So would there be a backlash? Yes. A CBN right in insisting that this policy should run the way it is now, that's on the infrastructure it is based presently. Yes. But are there better ways of doing it with what they are doing now? Yes, there are better ways. So we expect CBN to sit down and listen to the people and come up with more innovative and more user-friendly ways of carrying out the cashless phase. So it's not about reversing or stopping, which is what most people want. Just go back to status quo.
Okay.
It's an improvement of what the economy used to be. So I would not support it. Is it good for anybody, even myself? No. But is it good in the future? Yes. And I'm looking at the future for myself, for my children. So cashless has to come to stay.
All right. Thank you so much, Ayo Emakiome, who doubles as a business expert, the CEO of Coinbox Limited. Thank you so much for your time on the program this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
It's an honor to be here.
Okay. Do have yourself
a wonderful rest of the day.
Oh, and you too. I wish you a splendid weekend.
Yeah, you too. And please go. Okay, you'll be on TV. I want to say go out and vote tomorrow.
Oh yes, I'll be in the studio so to get the position of Nigerians who go out to vote and to give us a call and tell us about what they experience in their polling units and how the case of security, the time of arrival of INEC officials, the functioning of the BVAS system, and every other thing that has to do with elections.
No problem. Tomorrow will be a good day.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much. And this is where we draw the curtain this morning on the program. Thanks for listening. Do have yourself a splendid weekend. But tomorrow, you go to the polling unit to go cast your votes. When you're going, go with a bottle of water. Go maybe with a snack. Dress smartly. Go with an umbrella if it's going to be sunny. And make sure you cast your vote as performing your civic duties and obey all protocols that is going to be set to you by the INEC officials and the security agents in your polling units, and vote. So have yourself a splendid weekend.